What up, my guys? It's the boy Rich. We're back with another 6v6 Pokemon battle for the channel against the homie Rapture off Discord. He was looking for a PU Pokemon battle, and I kind of threw this PU team together. This is actually like my favorite tier to play. I must say this in like every single Pokemon battle that I upload, but I love the PU tier. It's just so many different Pokemon that people play with. Like, you know, you just see the biggest variety of Pokemon in this tier, obviously, because it's like the weaker tier, but still it's super fun. It still definitely has its threats. Like, for instance, I think the biggest threat on my team is probably the Primeape. I know when I run into that thing, it always gives me issues, but the rest of my Pokemon are just kind of things that I've not used like any of these Pokemon before, really. I just trained up a Marshtomp, the little grass monkey, a Claydol. Like, I don't know, I was just really trying to experiment with a lot of different Pokemon. That's also probably why I love this tier so much. You get to really experiment. But then looking at my opponent's team, he actually has a really good team himself. He has the Silvally, he has the Jinx that I definitely got to watch out for, because if that thing gets like a Z Lovely Kiss, then it can probably hurt all of my guys pretty good. So definitely got to watch out for that thing. He has the the Mesprit, which is a pretty common Pokemon you see in the tier, but then he also has like the Go-Goat and stuff, which I don't see too much of. So anyway, I mean, that's like the team preview here. PU battle, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I didn't really have any real thought process as to who he was going to start out with. I was like, it's either going to be Mesprit to get like rocks up and stuff, or it's going to be like Silvally to get a parting shot off or whatnot. So I just decided to start out with my Heatmore. This is actually choice specs, so I was like, whatever I'm gonna hit, it's gonna hit really hard. So I just went ahead and decided first turn to go for the Giga Drain, thinking he'd swap right out into his Wishy-Washy, but of course that's not actually what he went for. I kind of misplayed here. I wish I went for the Flamethrower. Now I'm over here locked in the Giga Drain, and it's not really doing too much damage. And he has his rocks up, and since I have my Heatmore and my little Ghost Bird, Ori Cinco, I think that's his name, on my team, I definitely did want to just go ahead and get rid of that. So I just decided, second turn to swap out into my Assault Vest Claydol. Yeah, sorry, I had to think of which item he was holding. He was holding the Assault Vest, so I really wasn't worried too much about what this Mesprit was going to do to me, because most of the time, honestly, it's not even used for like attacking like that. Like, I mean, people carry like the Psy Shock and stuff on it, but I mean, I knew whatever he went for, it wasn't going to do too much damage to me. So unfortunately, my opponent actually reveals that he has the Trick Room on his Mesprit, which is very scary for me, because now I am under Trick Room and my opponent has a Wishy-Washy out, which is just absolutely super strong, and this is just not where you want to be, honestly. So my opponent actually doesn't go for the Hydro Pump like I thought he would go for. I guess he probably predicted me to go into my Grass Monkey Pokemon. Can't really think of that thing's name right now. I just went for the Earth Power because I was like, alright, some stuff is just gonna have to get sacked. Luckily for me, he did go for that Ice Beam, and I was able to live it and get a little crit. I'll let that Earth Power down. Also, I think the bigger play here was me wasting some of these Trick Room turns already, because now we're 2 turns down. It did cost me my Claydol, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go into my Eviolite Marshtomp, because I was like, if he wants to hit me with some special attacks, I can probably at least take 2. But the bigger thing is, I'm just trying to wear down these I'm just trying to wear out these Trick Room turns, because that's definitely going to be a problem. I got people on my team who don't want to be under Trick Room, like Choice Scarf, Primeape, and stuff like that. Like, it's just not where I want to be at. But he goes into his Go-Goat. He wants to hit me with a nice little grass move, and I just can't allow that, because Marshtomp is just extra allergic to grass. So I am just going to go ahead and go into my Oricinco right here to go ahead and eat up that Horn Leech. I was hoping he would just go for that, or maybe the Earthquake, thinking I'd go into like the Heatmore. But that's actually not the case, which let me just go ahead and pause real quick and say Goko is just a great Pokemon. I just literally trained one of these things out like last week, so you guys most likely will see him in some of my future PU battles, so because I've been just kind of like itching to throw him on the team. But anyway, back to the battle. His Go-Go did not want to stay in here. He makes the obvious play going into his Electros. I saw this play coming. I was just kind of hoping he wouldn't be the Assault Vest Electros, because I do want to just go ahead and get some Calm Minds up. I did get behind a Substitute, and once these Pokemon get behind subs and start setting up like this is just always a very scary part of the battle to be in. Like, it's a scary position to be in when a Pokemon sets up behind a substitute. But he just decides to go for the knockoff, and I was like, dang, I was really hoping he wouldn't have the knockoff because, you know, I can set up these Calm Minds. I was hoping maybe the only electric move he had was like Volt Switch, so he'd have to like Volt Switch out and then something else would take damage. And I mean, that's kind of where my thought process was at this point in the battle. But seeing he had the knockoff, I was like, dang, I don't really want to swap out anything else. I could have went into Marshtomp, but I mean, then again, he might have the Giga Drain, so I did just kind of use my little Ori Cinco just to get a nice little Revelation Dance off on this Electros, and it did some good damage, enough to where I'm comfortable enough to bring my Primate in here and try to scare him out with like a close combat or something. But he still has, you know, different Pokemon on his team that are able to eat that up way better. Like he has like the Mesprit on his team, which I'm assuming is like defensive or something, but I mean, that's kind of what I expected to come in. So I just decided to go for the U-turn right here, thinking he would come in, but I didn't really have any switch into the Silvally. Honestly, when he chose this thing out, I didn't even know exactly what it was. I was like, I don't know if this is like fire. I was like, I don't know what it is. It actually ended up being a fighting type Silvally, which I do not see that often. And my opponent actually went for the parting shot right here, which is pretty weird because I was like, that's a dangerous game to play. Like when you're parting shotting while, you know, your opponent has like a defiant Pokemon on their team. Like that's how teams get swept. That's how I get swept. And honestly, the only reason why I didn't really play off of that too much this battle was because I completely forgot about my Primate's ability. So I wish I would have actually kept that in mind this battle. But anyway, my Heatmore just went ahead and went for the Flamethrower right there. I'm just trying to go ahead and get some damage off on this thing. I don't really have too many attacks that can just really body this thing now that my Ori Cinco, whatever Pokemon is gone. But I do still have a super defensive Marshtomp, which I didn't feel like this Pokemon could do just too much to me. So I did decide to go ahead and throw him out. I was like, my rocks are already up, my Marshtomp. I was just going to go ahead and go for some damage right here. Going for the Waterfall because I guess the goal at this point is to get everything into range to where I can knock everything out with a close combat from my Primate. So my opponent actually goes for the parting shot again, and I'm just like, man, like I wish when I had rewatched this battle, I really did. I was like, I wish I would have actually paid attention more, because, you know, that would have been so much Defiant boost. I think that's like +3 attack after you know, getting the little, you know, attack drop from the parting shot. But I mean, I didn't, and that's just kind of what that was. And I figured my opponent would go ahead and swap out to the Go-Go right here, so I did decide to just go ahead and go for the Toxic this next turn, so I could just, you know, poison this thing up. I know these things are kind of bulky, and this Go-Go's not exactly at enough HP to where I feel comfortable with a close combat knocking him out. So I don't have any switch-ins at this point. I don't want him to go for Earthquake or anything, trying to, you know, over predict. I feel like my Marshtomp did exactly what he needed to do. He tanked, you know, a few attacks from that Silvally. He got his rocks up. He got the poison on from the Go-Goat, and he kind of stalled out some of those Trick Room turns from earlier. And so I was really happy with, you know, me showcasing him on my channel. So now I do feel comfortable enough to bring my Heatmore in. I know he does have the Earthquake on his Go-Go, but, you know, I was like, maybe this thing's not really that strong. Like, I honestly didn't know, but I felt like I could at least take one of those Earthquakes and fire off a nice little Flamethrower. So, you know, after me getting this off, it's choice spec, so of course this Go-Go is not going to be able to take that, because that is just too strong, you know, of a fire move. And my Heatmore, this is like the first time I'm ever using this Pokemon, and I was just super happy with him because he's just over here bodying people. And like, my opponent decides to send out this Mesprit, and I got really afraid at first because I was like, dang, he's gonna go ahead and go for the Trick Room. Then he's gonna die. He's gonna send out the Wishy-Washy, and I'm getting swept from there. But I actually outsped him, so I was just really confused. Turns out my opponent told me he was running a, you know, like a negative speed nature. So that actually kind of saved me with him running that, because that Wishy-Washy definitely would have been able to just body the rest of my team. But anyway, he sends out the Silvally after I kill that Mesprit, gets a multi-attack off on me, and I live on 3 HP because my Heatmore is just doing too much work. He's not able to take another multi-attack after that, but I mean, I am super happy with that Pokemon. Like, Heatmore is boss. I'll definitely use him in some more PU battles in the future, because he just kind of did the things for me. So anyway, I send out my George right here, which is like one of the Pokemon I wanted to showcase even more. this little grass monkey thing. You don't see these things too much, but I've been having a lot of fun. Like, they've been on all of my PU teams, all three of them, the fire one, the water one. They've been on my PU teams just like this whole past 2 weeks, and I've just been like running the thing with them. But anyway, after me knocking out that Silvally, he chooses out the Jinx, and I'm sure he wants to come out here and maybe do like the Z Lovely Kiss. Then, you know, probably like set up a nasty plot and then just run through the rest of my lineup. But I do have the Continental Crush on my George, and this Jinx is just way too fragile, and I'm just gonna have to put her under the rocks. And yeah, after the stealth rock damage and her being an ice type, there's just no way in hell that he was gonna be able to survive that Continental Crush. So my George just picks up his second KO of the game, and I actually didn't even realize this the first time when I was battling, because I don't know, I thought the Wishy-Washy had to be in red HP to transform back, but I guess that's not the case, and he wouldn't have actually ran through my lineup with this Pokemon anyway. So that was actually really, really cool. There was no way he'd be able to kill my little grass monkey with that little fish at the end. I was able to just go ahead and Giga Drain him and pick up my third KO with my little grass monkey. So it was actually a really, really fun game, really fun PU game. I love this tier so much. This is like my favorite tier. Just too much variety in it, like too many different Pokemon. You see too many different things, and it's just absolutely amazing, especially when you're playing, you know, other people who are just trying to have fun as much as you and test out different Pokemon. But anyway, this was my boy Rapture. He has a YouTube channel. I love his YouTube. He's literally one of my top 5 favorite PokeTubers. I am going to go ahead and link his channel in the description. He probably doesn't even know I'm uploading this, so I mean, it doesn't even matter. I just love showing love. Like, this guy is amazing. You guys should definitely check out his channel if you guys are into watching Pokemon battles, which if you stayed this long, I'm pretty sure you are. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop that like for me. If you are not subbed to me and you look forward to all of these Pokemon battles that I am about to bombard you guys with throughout the next few days, go ahead and subscribe to me, because yeah, you guys can go ahead and get that nice and you know, notified, all that, so you guys can check it out. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I will catch you guys in the next vid. Peace.